The twin moons of Thal'Voran hung low in the sky, casting an ethereal silver glow over the sprawling alien bazaar. Human visitors called it the market below the moons, and it lived up to its name, luminous, strange, and breathtaking. I had only just arrived on Thal'Voran for a research exchange program and wandered through the market in search of local art. What I found instead was her. She stood behind a stall draped in cascading silks of iridescent blue, her hands deftly shaping a floating sculpture from some semi-liquid crystal. Her skin shimmered faintly in the moonlight, not metallic or artificial, but as though her body absorbed starlight and gave it back softly. Her hair, pale lavender, almost translucent, hung over one eye. The other eye watched her work, deep and gold like molten sunlight. I was mesmerized, not just by her appearance, but by the sorrow that clung to her like a shadow. "Your work is beautiful," I said, trying to break the silence. "But you're even more so." She froze. The sculpture collapsed into droplets and floated down like broken stars. She looked up at me, her lips parted slightly. Her hands trembled. I'm sorry," I added quickly. "I didn't mean to." "No one's said that to me before," she whispered. Chapter 2. The girl named Vayari. Her name was Vayari. A native of Thal'Voran, part of the rare Serathai caste, artisans once revered, now nearly forgotten. The Serathai had been displaced during a civil war decades ago, and many, like Vayari, were left to survive by selling craftwork to offworlders. She lived in the market, in a tiny alcove carved beneath one of the large floating arches, her stall her only protection from the wind and cold. I learned this the next day when I returned with a small woven bracelet I had bought elsewhere. "I saw this and thought of your work," I said, placing it on her counter. "It's not as good, of course." She blinked at it, then at me. "Why would you bring me something?" "Because you seem like someone who deserves to be given something beautiful." Her eyes shimmered again. She lowered her head, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm not used to kindness," she said, barely audible. "Especially not from humans." I sat across from her, the stall dimly lit by a soft crystal lamp. We talked about art, culture, what Earth was like. She laughed softly when I described pizza. Her voice was melodic, like glass wind chimes in a soft breeze. But even when she smiled, I could tell something haunted her. Chapter 3. Fractures in the Crystal. The following week became a ritual. Every evening, I would visit her stall. I watched her shape her sculptures, gravity-defying spirals of light and liquid, and sometimes she'd let me help, though I was awful at it. Then, one night, as a soft storm rumbled overhead, she didn't smile. Her hands were wrapped in cloth, trembling. "What happened?" I asked, kneeling beside her. "Merchant guards," she muttered. "They said my rent was overdue. I couldn't pay, so they crushed 2 of my best pieces. I tried to stop them." Anger surged through me. "You should report them." "There's no one to report to. I'm not even a registered citizen anymore." She pulled the cloth tighter, but I gently reached out, peeling it back. Her fingers were bruised, crystalline skin cracked in places. "You don't deserve this," I whispered. She didn't reply, only stared into the distance. Then she said something that cut deep. "Sometimes I wonder if I even exist to anyone." "You do to me," I said firmly. She looked at me then, truly looked, as if seeing me for the first time. Chapter 4. A Gallery in the Stars. I had an idea. Over the next few days, I gathered contacts from the university and local cultural preservation boards. With enough pressure, some human allies, and the help of a professor who admired Serathai art, I proposed a one-night exhibition, The Forgotten Light, Art of Vayari. When I returned to her stall with the invitation, she was working silently, her wounds healing but her spirit dull. "This is for you," I said. She took the flyer, reading the flowing Thal'Voran script. Her eyes widened. This is my name." "Yes. And your art will be displayed in the sky atrium. Everyone will see it." She shook her head slowly. "Why would you do this for me?" I met her gaze. "Because someone should have done it a long time ago." She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. She turned away, covering her face with her hands. I didn't mean to fluster you, I said gently, stepping closer. But when I praised your beauty, I meant more than your face. You shine, Vayari, even when you try to dim yourself. She turned back, tears glistening like pearls on her cheeks. I didn't think I was allowed to feel seen, she whispered. Chapter 5. Night of the exhibition. The atrium was breathtaking, a glass dome hovering among floating gardens, starlight spilling through as floating drones displayed her sculptures mid-air. The crowd was thick, humans, Thal'Vorani, even a few high caste officials. Vayari stood beside me, draped in a simple silver robe I had commissioned with the help of a seamstress. Her eyes never stopped darting, nervous, unsure. You belong here, I said. I feel like I'm dreaming. I watched as a child approached her, holding a small drawing of one of her sculptures. I tried to copy it, the girl said shyly. Vayari knelt, tears forming again, but these were of a different kind. She smiled and took the child's hand. Later that evening, the Dean of Cultural Affairs approached us. Miss Vayari, he said, would you consider becoming a visiting artist at our Interplanetary Arts Initiative? We'd like to fund your work. Her mouth parted. She looked at me, stunned. I nodded. Yes, she finally said, trembling. Yes, I would love that. Chapter 6. Beneath the moons again. We returned to the market days later, though this time, not to sleep in the cold. Her stall had been cleaned, her remaining pieces stored carefully. The alcove would become a satellite studio now, funded and protected. I found her standing beneath the moons again, just where I had first seen her. You changed everything, she said softly. No. You were already everything, I replied. I just reminded the world. She turned to face me. I never asked for this. I never thought anyone would see me. But when you said I was beautiful, it almost broke me. Why? Because I wanted to believe it so badly. I stepped closer. You don't have to want it anymore. Just accept it. She laughed gently, brushing her fingers against mine. You're either a fool or a poet. Maybe both. She leaned in, and the moons lit her face with that soft, quiet glow I had seen the first day. Chapter 7. The Artist and the Stranger. Weeks passed. Her name spread across systems, Vayari, the Seraphai light sculptor. Yet she remained humble, returning often to the market, speaking with other displaced artists, giving them supplies and hope. We remained close, lovers not yet spoken, souls tethered across shared nights and mutual recognition. It wasn't about romance in the traditional sense. It was about healing. About belief. About standing beside someone and saying, you are not forgotten. Sometimes, she would still fluster when I called her beautiful. But now, she didn't cry. She smiled.